Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Now, this movie is directed by an Edomite, and he say when he was in Orlando, Florida, in jail, the Negroes that was in the prison or jailhouse with him was calling him the word cracker. Now, people in Georgia understand this word much deeper because that's where a lot of the cotton was grown, and a lot of the cotton fields exist still to this day. And when you're in the cotton field, or when we were in the cotton field, you had the slave master who owned the cotton field, and he would hire a cracker with an ER on it. And the cracker was somebody who was the overseer over the workers in the cotton field. He would put the whip on your back and pretty much crack your back. You see, and so it was a name given to these overseers that would hit you with the whip if you stopped working or got tired of working. So it's not a derogatory name. You see, it's like somebody calling you the Punisher. Somebody calling you the Punisher is not a derogatory name, because you is in the driver's seat. You're not a victim. You're not being victimized. It's not a name given to a victim. See, a name given to a victim and the victimizer is two different names. They have two different spirits or feelings and emotions connected to them. When you call somebody a cracker, it goes back to a punisher. It goes back to the oppressor. You see, it goes back to the overseer in the cotton field. And so you can't equate that with the word, with the N word, because the N word was a name given to people due to their skin color. They was calling them black. It was a derogatory thing because these people were the color brown, but people was calling them black. You see, way back in when you go to you go to Acts 13, the Israelites, the so-called Jews, was called niggers. You see, and the word just mean black. When you say Negro, that mean black. It all comes from Spanish, French, Latin. It's a Latin word, and Spanish comes out of the Latin. So nigger was the Latin, Spanish came out of the Latin, and you say Negro. You see, and it all just mean black. But that they was calling the slaves black, and they was calling them nigger, and it was a victimized word. The word while you being victimized. You being victimized and somebody calling you this word. You see, you being called a byword, something that's not your name, while you are a victim of that person. Totally different than somebody saying cracker. You see, somebody saying you a punisher. I'm not mad at being a punisher. That's something somebody brag about, being a punisher. But the guilt of these red dragons, they feel some type of way because of the guilt, and they trying to put on the persona that they love everybody, and they're not that way. So then it gives them some kind of feeling. But the word means punisher, man. But outside of that, then you got this man, he making a so-called movie or miniseries, whatever he want to call it, and it's reversing the roles. Now, he's not reversing the roles back in the 1600s. He reversing the roles in 2020. That's totally different. He's using white supremacists, and he's using crazy looking Negroes. So he's way off base with that one. You see, he's using white supremacists, and while he's showing you the visual of the white supremacists being in pretty much under the control of these so-called blacks or so-called Negroes. He got a song in the black background talking about nigger land. You see, so now he using the N-word, and he's saying, "Oh, there's something, you in nigger land." See, he trying to be funny. See, it's a sneak diss. If anybody in 2020, everybody should know what sneak dissing is. And he trolling the Israelites. That's all he doing. He trolling. Everybody know how Tekashi 6ix9ine and all these people online, they troll you and do certain things to try to hit a nerve. You see, and that's all he doing. He is trolling the Israelites, because we done told the world who these individuals are. They got a fake name as white people, but they're not white. They're actually red, and they have a long history as being the wicked brother of the Israelites, who was mad that he lost his blessing, and he wanted to kill Jacob afterwards, and all of his seed have a deep hatred for Jacob and his children. And so Jacob and his children had a covenant with God, and now they on God's pretty much punishment. They in the punishment, or I would say a detention period of time where he putting them in detention. He putting them in time out while he's allowing Esau and his children to rule over them as a punishment. Now, when you go into the scriptures, you got Israelites sold by the Hamites. But then this guy, he want to say that these are Hamites. He using the word African. So he's totally off base with the whole situation. And he's sneak dissing because, you know, nobody is on the level where they don't understand what this man is doing, because these Negroes was raised up with these people, man. We know how these young Edomites, especially the young Edomite males, we know how they act. And they love sneak dissing and saying little sly comments, you know, trying to be funny when they're not funny. And they call them black jokes. They love saying black jokes. You know, we know these young Edomite men love saying some black jokes. And they think it be funny. And we peep what they be doing, but we don't get into it with them. We don't waste time trying to tell them that we know that you saying a black joke and you trying to be funny on some racial tension stuff. And that's all this movie is. He trying to be funny and sneak this on the Israelites and on the whole situation that's going down. And so the elites gave him a pass because they understand sneak dissing, because that's all they do. They the rulers of sneak dissing. But either way it goes, he could be trying to motivate the war that's getting ready to happen, and it's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Because these so-called whites or Edomites, they were set up to be an adversary. See, you got people making videos and talking about these are the children of Satan. No, it's no angel called Satan, first of all. It's no wicked angels. All the angels obey the Most High and do exactly what he tells them to do. So none of the angels got children. You see, Yahweh Shai, we not the children of Yahweh Shai. We the children of Yahweh. You see, and so these people also are the children of Yahweh. They not the children of no Satan, because it ain't no Satan. All the angels do what God tells you to do. Just like in Romans 13, he say, it's no power but of God. See, they ain't ruling because the devil got them ruling. They ruling because God got them ruling. And he said, though the powers, the higher powers are ordained of God. They are ordained ministers of God. Then he called them the avengers. They is his avengers. He set up this nation to punish Israel for being wicked and worshiping other gods. So you can't look at everything that they do and get your panties in a bunch, because they only can do it to these wicked Israelites that's stubborn, these 2/3 Israelites. That's what they really were set up for. The 2/3 Israelites who don't want to repent, who want to believe all the lies and all the deceitful things in the world and live in unrighteousness. He set up a nation to punish they behind. And this was a nation that wasn't going to have no pity on your behind. See, they don't have empathy. They not narcissists. He set up a narcissistic nation that wasn't going to have no pity on you, and they was going to punish your behind for being wicked. They were set up for the 2/3. And so, even though he's allowing them to rule, and that's a blessing that was given to their forefather, but on a deeper level, they were set up for the 2/3 to punish they wicked behind. Now, let's go into the scriptures, because it's a specific verse that break this thing all the way down for these darn 2/3. And Negroes are always trying to save them. Verse 9, he said, this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which says to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not to us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. Okay, now guess what these so-called Edomites, guess how they act. Let's go into King David and see how these individuals act. Because see, the 2/3 saying, speak to us smooth things, tell us some lies. We want to hear lies. We want to hear smooth things. Now look at these, how these dragons operate. It say, we're just gonna start with 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. You see, speak to us smooth things. But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawing swords. You see, they want somebody to speak to them smooth things. Tell them deceit. King David talking about the Edomite. See there, Edomite. He was talking about this Edomite. And so what did he say? He say, verse 2, the tongue devises mischief and like a sharp razor working deceitfully. That's what the 2/3 want to hear. Verse 3, they loveth evil more than good, and lying, there you go, lying children, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. Thou loveth all devouring words, O deceitful tongue. Now ain't that what these 2/3 wanted to hear? He set them up just for these 2/3. Lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord. Speak unto, they say in verse 10, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. See, that's who he set up these people for. So you got to look at this thing in a certain way, even though you know these peoples are still hated by God. God say, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. You understand that, but that's just on a certain level. That's saying that Esau is the adversary. I'm still gonna be with the elect of Israel. You see, you got the elect of Israel. God is still with them, and he's gonna pull them through the whole situation. But you got the 2/3 of Israel, and 2/3 is a lot. That's 66%. So on a deeper level is Jacob have I loved, the remnant of Jacob I love, and the Edomites I hate because I'm gonna use them and then I'm gonna exterminate them pretty much. Now let's bring that up because they're gonna think I'm making that one up. Now when you go into 64, he let you know what he gonna do to a certain individual. Because he said been there bulls. Salakia, bear with me 1 second. Salakia, I was right there. Psalm 52, verse 5. He said, God shall likewise destroy you forever. Talking about the Edomites now. He said, God shall likewise destroy you forever. And that's not the only place. When you go to Obadiah talking about the Edomites, he said in verse 9, he said, and the mighty man, O Teman, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off. Verse 10, for the violence against thy brother Jacob shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Then when you get to verse 18, it gives you the grand finale. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord have spoken it. You see? And so, after 1,000 years, these peoples are not going to be around. He just going to get rid of that situation because they serve their purpose. And so, these Negroes or Israelites, they get caught up in their feelings, but at the end of the day, the Most High planned this whole situation out from the beginning to the end, and he told you what was going to happen in the beginning. He told you the end of it in the beginning. And so when he told Abraham that all his seed would be serving the nations, all the nations would be blessed by the Israelites, because all the nations had the Israelites as slaves, not just the Edomites. All the nations, the Hamites had them as slaves, so on and so on. They all had the Israelites as slaves, and they built up their kingdom. And even here in Babylon, all the nations are here with the Edomites, and they're getting rich. How you say, the kings of the earth is getting rich off Babylon. So even in that way, all the nations are being blessed by the Israelites. All the families of the earth is being blessed by the Israelites, because they all mooching off the Israelites' labor that we putting in Babylon the Great. And they taking those riches back to their homeland, and they live being blessed, see, by the Israelites being in captivity. So either way it go, and in the kingdom, they're going to come and worship under the Israelites and be blessed that way. But so from beginning to the end, the other families of the earth is being blessed by the Israelites when it comes to the Israelites working for them, slaving for them, and being the high priest to them in the kingdom of the Israelites. But I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace of the elect worldwide. The kingdom is at hand. Shalom.